right. In this group over here, who's the leader of this team? Is this Carson? Okay, Carson, you're going to access the website here in just a second, okay? And you're going to access the link here in a second. Who's the leader over here? All right, Mr. Fultz, you're going to access the link here in just a second. Who's Gabe? You're going to access the link here in a second. All right. Once you three access the link, you're going to make a copy and then share everybody in your game. Everybody got that? Not just on your team, but you're going to share that copy that you make with everybody in your game. So the link, we go to the, hold on, everybody pay attention, don't ask any questions right now, okay? We go to the Middle East tab, scroll down, across from the king, it says chessboard. Alright, so those three people that I've asked, you guys are going to access that link. Only you three people. Then you're going to go to the file button, make a copy of it, make it your own. Okay? Then, after you've made a copy of it, you're going to share it again to the people inside your game. Okay? Everybody understand that? So, only those three people. Once it's shared with you, then you can open it up. Okay? You'll notice that it's just pretty much a chessboard. Does everybody see that? Okay? The way the chessboard works, you can click on one of the pieces. Once you get the arrows pointed in all four directions, that means you can move it. Okay? So you can slide it that way. Sound good? So we're actually going to play a game of chess today. Now, what's the twist to it? We're talking about the Kurds. I'm going to read to you sections from an article about the history of the Kurds that came out a few years ago underneath the Obama administration. So it's a little bit dated, but it does talk about ISIS in there. Okay? So I'm going to read a section, and I'm going to ask you questions. Based off of the number of questions that you get right, that's how many moves you get. Sound good? So if we have a section with 5 questions and you get all 5 right, then you're going to get 5 moves. Then you're going to have to alternate with your opponent depending on how many of the questions they get right. Say that you get 5 right and they have 3 right. Right? Once they're finished with their 3 and you still have a couple moves left over, that means you're going to make a couple moves and they can't defend themselves. Sound good? Against your multiple moves there. Okay? Everybody good? All right. Now when we read and when you answer questions, everybody inside your group has to have the right answer written down. If somebody inside your group doesn't have the correct answer written down, then you can't get a move out of it. Sound good? Everybody ready to go? Has everybody got the board game shared with them? Those 3 people, share the board with me as well, and then I'll project them up there on the board. Okay? Yeah, Hayden? What do you mean it's not... Make a copy of it first. You've already made a copy of it?
She's like a bishop that can go up, any direction. Any direction, but not in an L, but any direction as far as she wants. It's the most overpowered piece.
Yeah, you may have.
Bishop will only diagonal.
There you go. All right, everybody should be good now.
Diagonal.
All right, here we go. Yes, that would be fine. Gabe, you want to open up that window? Bryson, you want to open up that window behind you? Just a crack, please. All right, here we go. You may write Kurds at the top because we're focusing on the Kurds. And again, it's their history. This is a few years old, so keep that in mind. The Kurdish word Peshmerga translates as one who faces death. Again, that's Peshmerga. It is an apt description for the ethnic militiamen who defend the Kurdish territory in Iraq's rugged north. They are known as some of the Middle East's most fearsome and dedicated fighters, qualities that are useful among the people who say that they have no friends but the mountains. In a region where women often cannot hold jobs and drive cars, their devotion is evident in the females who wear fatigues and carry Kalashnikovs in the frontline Peshmerga units. You guys know what a Kalashnikov is? It's a Russian-made assault rifle. But even the Peshmerga were no match for the fanatical jihadis of the Islamic State of Iraq and Greater Syria, or ISIS, as they stormed into Kurdish areas of northern Iraq in early August. Again, this is a couple years ago. Fighting with U.S.-made weapons and armored vehicles seized from abandoned Iraqi army positions in June, ISIS routed the outgunned Kurds and advanced to within 20 miles of the Kurdish capital of Erbil. Panic gripped the city's 1 million residents, who are all too familiar with ISIS's appetite for murder, beheading, and crucifixion. Days later, the Kurds stormed back, this time with American-supplied weapons and the help of U.S. drones and jets, which destroyed its ISIS convoys and artillery. It was America's first acknowledged attack in Iraq since the U.S. troops left the country in December of 2011. And for Barack Obama, a day he tried hard to avoid. For weeks, Obama had refused to strike ISIS as the brutal al-Qaeda splinter group rampaged through northern Iraq and declared an Islamic caliphate spanning the Iraq-Syria border. But Obama would not risk seeing Erbil fall. However much he hates returning to Iraq, Obama has decided that defending the Kurds is worth it. In doing so, he has opened a new chapter in the history of the U.S.'s fickle relationship with the beleaguered Kurds, one that could mark a major shift for the Middle East. That's because, having rescued the Kurds, Obama is now partnering with them. As American weapons flow to Erbil, Kurdish fighters and territory have proven critical to the U.S. effort to stop ISIS terrorist thugs. Kurdistan provides a base from which we could run a major counterterrorism campaign against ISIS, says Kenneth Pollock, a former CIA analyst. After decades of struggling for U.S. attention, the Kurds finally have it. Question number 1. Again, everybody inside your group has to have the correct answer. If somebody does not, then you can't get an opportunity to move. We will answer we will go over the questions at the end of the 5 questions. Sound good? And we'll mix up the segments. Yes, Ms. Hoffman. Yes, you can. Yep. Question number 1. Peshmerga translates as one who faces what? Again, you write them down. Make sure everybody's on the same page. In your group, that is. Want to share answers with your opponent. Question number 2. Who are the Kurdish fighters fighting? Who are the Kurdish fighters fighting? Question number 3. Who unintentionally, meaning they didn't do that purposely, and I'm talking about what country here, supplied the opponent of the Kurds with weapons? They didn't purposely give the opponents of the Kurds weapons, but they unintentionally did. What country would that be? And question number 4. Within what country are the majority of the Kurds found? Within what country are the majority of the Kurds found? All right, clear up your misconceptions. Make sure everybody's on the same page. We'll go over the answers in just a moment. Everybody ready? All right, here we go. Number 1. Peshmerga translates as one who faces what? Ms. Logan? Death. Question number 2. Who are the Kurdish fighters fighting? Who would that be? Gabe? ISIS is correct. Question number 3. Who unintentionally, not purposely, supplied ISIS with weapons? Mr. McGinnis? Russia's a good guess. There's the Kalashnikov in there. Yes, Ms. Hoffman? The United States. The United States gave Iraq a number of tanks and other weapons. The Iraqi troops, when ISIS was coming along, they ran away. They left the tanks and weapons behind. ISIS is like, these are be valuable, right? So they took them themselves. Number 4. Within what country are the majority of the Kurds found? The majority. They're in other countries, but the majority are found in this one, Ms. Linder. Iraq is correct. You get a point for that. All right. So you count up your moves. Tell your partner how many, or tell your opposing team how many moves you have. Decide who goes first, then go back and forth. Got a moment here.
How about this? Pencil points here, it's our turn. Our plan is this. Is that supposed to be racist? He's gonna make a move. Jason, you know what you talk about chess? How do you move it? You two. Are you guys done? Yeah. What's our plan for the third move?
I know.
Let's go with
Do you mind renaming?
Yeah. Why don't you guys over on the side where it says black and white, go ahead and put your captain, your team captain's name there. Okay, where it says black and white. And then there's one team that hasn't shared with me their board, so. Everybody good? Finish up your moves. I'm going to start reading the next section. You have to multitask. You use up your moves for that first section, then, all right? And we'll get more moves here in a second.
Wait, we have to use all of them?
Yeah. I guess you don't have. You can't carry them over to the next section. We're gonna like lambast them.
Take everything down.
I think I'll save. I'll use my next 10 moves. All right, here we go. The one with the
More ornate. The taller one. Repeat the taller one.
You guys decide which one. Which one did you decide? The one on the left? Yeah. That's what I thought it was. All right, here we go. Next section. Provide comfort, not independence. Everybody good? Here we go. A stateless mountain people might seem an unlikely partner in the fight against terrorism, but the Kurds may be America's most reliable Middle Eastern ally outside of Israel, which is all the more striking given how often the U.S. has let them down. The Kurds are among the world's largest ethnic groups without their own state. Numbering around 25 million and with a distinct culture and language, they are clustered in the mountainous region where Syria, Turkey, Iran, and Iraq converge. They are not Arabs, but can claim the great Islamic warrior Salahuddin, a historic giant who repelled the European crusaders in the 12th century, as one of their own. Most Kurds are Sunni Muslims, sharing the faith of ISIS, but none of the savage fundamentalism. Woodrow Wilson was the first U.S. president to thrill the Kurds, with his talk of independent nations rising from the ruins of the Ottoman Empire after World War I. But the U.S. later accepted European-drawn borders in the Middle East that remorselessly split up Kurdish land among 4 nations and rendered them all, or a suspect minority in all. As Kurds struggled, sometimes violently, for independence throughout the 20th century, Washington lent no support, except when it was convenient. Henry Kissinger urged the Kurds to rebel against Saddam Hussein in 1972 when the U.S. was aligned with the Shah of neighboring Iran, only to abandon them when priorities changed. Ronald Reagan ignored Saddam's use of poison gas on the Kurds in 1987 and 1988 because Iraq was at war with the U.S.'s then enemy, Iran. And it was a small irony that the first American F-A-18 jets to strike ISIS positions near Erbil on August 8th were launched from the deck of the USS George H.W. Bush. It was the elder Bush who last rode to the Kurds' rescue, saving them from another massacre at the hands of Saddam. The Kurds had risen up again after the 1991 Gulf War, prompting Saddam to use tanks and helicopters to slay them by the thousands. Some 750,000 Kurds fled into squalid mountain refugee camps. And on April 6, 1991, the U.S. and its allies launched Operation Provide Comfort, which created a safe haven for the Kurds in northern Iraq, enforced by fighter jets in the skies above. Question number 1. Other than the Kurds, who is the United States' most reliable ally in the Middle East? Question number 2. This is a 4-part question, a possibility of acquiring 4 moves here with this. Name for me the 4 countries occupied by the Kurds. Name for me the 4 countries occupied by the Kurds. Next question, number 3. Most Kurds belong to which Islamic sect? Most Kurds belong to which Islamic sect? Number 4. What U.S. president missed an opportunity to secure independence for the Kurds following the breakup of the Ottoman Empire in World War I? Question number 5. Instead of following the advice of that U.S. president, the decision went with the Western Europeans redrawing the borders of many of these countries after the fall of the Ottoman Empire. What was the name of that agreement? I'll give you a hint. It was Document 1 in our DBQs. Question number 5. Question number 6. Thank you. Who used poison gas? I'm talking about a person here. On the Kurds in the late 1980s. Clear up any misconceptions. Make sure everybody's on the same page. We'll go over the answers in just a moment. Everybody ready? All right, here we go. A lot of moves out here. Number 1, other than the Kurds, who is the U.S.'s most reliable ally in the Middle East? Mr. Poltz?
Israel.
Israel is correct. Question number 2, name the 4 countries occupied by the Kurds. I'll go ahead and give them to you. Again, you get a move for each one. Syria, Turkey, Iran, and Iraq. You get a move for each one. Syria, Turkey, Iran, and Iraq. Number 3, most Kurds belong to which Muslim sect? Which one? Tony? Sunni is correct. Sunni. Number 4, what U.S. president missed an opportunity to secure independence for the Kurds following the breakup of the Ottoman Empire in World War I? Tyler? Woodrow Wilson is correct. Woodrow Wilson. Number 5, what's DBQ number 1? Yes, Miss Sophie? Sykes-Picot Agreement is correct. Question number 6, who used poison gas on the Kurds? Mr. McGinnis? Ronald Reagan. I know that the way it's written, Ronald Reagan's name's in there. Ronald Reagan did not respond when somebody else used poison gas on the Kurds. Sound good? So we didn't send armed forces in to protect them at that point in time. Gabe? Nope. Good try. Yep. Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein. I'll take Saddam. Yep. He's the Iraqi dictator at that time. Okay. All right, get your moves in quickly. We're running out of time.
Wait, so do we do it like alternate? Do they all?
Yeah, you alternate. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Make sure you. Then you get to go. Yeah. Without. Yeah.
It's hard because no, it's hard because you missed that. You skipped that. Whatever.
You gotta move one guy up so he doesn't jump.
No, he can't.
They have to stay in the white spaces.
I'm gonna move it up. He has to stand. Well, just a okay. So now we should.
Finish up your moves.
Go ahead, Race. Okay, now we have to read the science of the pawn is.
Do you want me to go for it? I mean, I think we should wait. I can make this.
Does the other team get a chance to move this? Even if we like kill them.
You guys good over there? You guys finished? Everybody used their moves? No? Okay. Finish up.
What?
You guys won?
Yeah, we beat Bryson.
Okay, we got one more round to go through. You guys just answer the questions.
You take out his horse and lose What happens when something gets out? You just like
You can move it off the board. You could delete it. That's fine. But
I just closed your
No, they're blocked. They're blocked.
Alright, Race, you got that.
I think you can attack by diagonal. I don't think you can attack from
I have another move.
know what's going on over here, Miss Anderson?
Check.
I have so many.
The person you're on the How many moves was that? Ray, share it over me. That's their good.
All right, we're gonna have to go on to the next section. You guys can finish your moves while I'm reading the next section. You're gonna have to multitask because of time. You guys just answer the questions, okay? All right, here we go. The Kurds had never looked quite as useful to the United States as they did in 2002 when George Bush planned to invade Iraq. The U.S. brought Kurdish leaders to a secret Virginia facility, maybe Camp David, that summer to seek their help. The Kurds were initially suspicious that the U.S. might burn them yet again, but the prospect of toppling Saddam was too good to resist, and they offered intelligence and coordination. U.S. Special Forces even fought side by side with the Peshmerga, who were seasoned from years of battle with Saddam's military. But the Kurds soon learned that the U.S. plan for a post-Saddam Iraq did not include their independence. Washington did not want to tamper with the region's border, particularly when an important ally, Turkey, where Kurdish insurgents make territorial claims, was adamantly opposed. As Iraq became a nightmare after 2003, the Kurds protected their borders and quietly built an oasis of calm and prosperity. Construction exploded, luxury hotels sprouted, and nightclubs proliferated. In a relatively secular society where women can sport skinny jeans and uncovered hair, designer clothes and luxury cars were soon available in Erbil. Kurds began referring to the region as the other Iraq. The Kurdish philosophy was, in effect, that success is the best revenge. Driving the transformation was oil. It was always typical of Kurdish luck that they should live in an oil-rich region, but reap none of the profit. That has changed. Although Saddam's regime largely ignored Kurdistan's oil reserves, his fall opened the door for energy multinationals like Chevron and ExxonMobil to flock to the politically stable and Western-friendly area. Kurdistan now produces about 10% of Iraq's oil, more than 350,000 barrels per day. Along with economic growth came vast autonomy. The Kurds have their own parliament, border guards, not to mention the Peshmerga. But neither Baghdad nor Washington will grant the Kurds the full independence that they have sought for a century. U.S. officials believe the breakup of Iraq will produce only more chaos and bloodshed. Framing it as a matter of Kurdish self-interest, U.S. officials also warned that because Iraq's south produced so much oil, the Kurds stand to lose some $10 billion in annual shared revenue by going it alone. Question number 1. Last section for today. How many Kurdish women wear what? There's 2 possible answers here. You get a move for each one. Question number 2. What is the Kurdish capital? What is the Kurdish capital? What city? Question number 3. What fueled Kurdish economic development? Hint is fueled. And number 4. Sometimes the Kurdish region is referred to as the what? Sometimes the Kurdish region is referred to as the what? This is a bonus round, so for every right answer that you get 2 moves rather than 1. Sound good? Yes, you could. This is a bonus round. So for every correct answer that you get 2 moves rather than 1 move. All right, here we go. Answers. Number 1. Yep, Ms. Bolt.
Number 1.
Oh, many Kurdish women wear what?
We just went with skinny jeans, loose hair.
Skinny jeans is 1 correct answer that I was looking for. Ms. Sophie? Designer clothes is the second one. So if you got both of those, you get 4 moves here. Question number 2. What is the Kurdish capital? Ms. Hoffman? Erbil. Gerbil? No. Erbil. Question number 3. What fueled Kurdish economic development? Fueled. Natalie? I'm sorry. Ms. Anderson? Oil is correct.
And he called you your sister.
Sometimes. Number 4. Sometimes the Kurdish region is referred to as the what? Mr. Bowman? The other Iraq. Count up your moves, your points, your moves, and then you got a moment here to finish up. Get as far as you can there.
All right, where in the region are you guys at?
We got 2, okay?
2.
Yes.